This is the CBC Morning Report for today, Monday, July 3rd. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tisha Hines. Good morning. The iconic Solar Dynamics Limited is under new management, and the man who has taken over has big plans to grow the business. The company, which pioneered solar water heating systems in Barbados under the leadership of founder and owner James Husbands, has been acquired by businessman George Connolly. Mr. Connolly, who is now the company's chief executive officer, shared his plans to offer additional products and services during last evening's The People's Business.
We're also going to be offering solar AC units. We're going to be offering those for sale again throughout the 50 solar-powered pool heating systems. We're going to expand that business to all the markets rather than just Barbados and St. Lucia where we currently do it. And the other thing that we're going to do is something that I think is very dear to my heart, irrigation. There's a product called an automatic water generator. And what that product does is that it takes the process of condensation to create water every single day. Anything from 10 liters to 5,000 liters a day. Now, this irrigation platform, solar powered again, can reduce a lot of the challenges that we're going to have over the years with irrigating lands for farmers or going into districts who are water deprived. And in those areas, we can put a solar powered unit in the middle of a field or in the middle of a street, and 250 up to 250 individuals per day will have enough water to satisfy their needs.
Mr. Connolly stressed the company's increased relevance in today's world that is more climate change conscious than ever before. He also noted that the local firm's solar water heating systems are a unique product.
I want anyone to tell me one other technical product that has been developed in the Caribbean that can be sold globally or is being sold globally. Rather, anyone, one technical product built and developed in the Caribbean that's being sold throughout the region or globally. And the only product that I can think of is Solar Dynamics. The potential that this product has, particularly in an age now where it seems that it's built for this particular period that we're in, where climate change and RE are such buzzwords now, when 50 years ago, or rather 449 years ago, it was just an idea that someone thought would save a little bit on gas. Now, it's not seen as just being able to save on gas, but it's a way of life. It is something that we have to adopt if we want to save this planet. So there's no better time. There's no better time for anyone in business to pivot green and see the opportunities that are available and actually be doing this not just for the profit that comes with it, but be doing it for good.
Mr. Husband says one of the most satisfying achievements of his stewardship of the company is making Barbados a global leader in this technological field.
I think one of the most important things from my perspective is making Barbados the #1 country in the world, British thermal unit per thousand population. And this is measured by Solar Energy Worldwide, which is an institution formed by the World Renewable, the Authority on World Energy. And Barbados is #1. And Barbados is also #3 in the world in the penetration of solar water heaters per thousand population. Well, those are two benchmarks which are literally unbelievable. Those are achievements that for a little boy from St. Martin's and St. Philip, I could not have expected to achieve that.
Coming up on the CBC Morning Report, the French president meets with top officials to find solutions to end the ongoing unrest. French President Emmanuel Macron has his top ministers meeting, and they met yesterday evening to mobilize the government's response towards unrest that has shaken France after a fifth night of looting and rioting sparked by the fatal police shooting of a teenager. After discussing the crisis with the Prime Minister, Interior Minister and Justice Minister, the President called on them to continue to do everything possible to re-establish order and restore calm.
Well, there were just four main points that came out of the crisis meeting that President Macron had with his closest cabinet ministers, including the Interior Minister and the Justice Minister. We were expecting actually a video statement, but that didn't come. And in fact, there hasn't even been an official statement from the presidential palace. But what we do know is that he's tasked his ministers to continue to reduce the levels of violence that we've seen on the previous 5 nights. There is also a nod to the reality that there are underlying issues that have led to this situation. And he said that there should be some reflection on the causes of the unrest, as well as the government saying it will continue to support the police officers who have worked to try to quell the violence and stop the looting. And the final point was that the Finance Ministry has been tasked with coming up with some kind of plan for compensation or reparation for those shopkeepers and business owners whose businesses have been damaged, looted in these past few days.
There have been long-standing accusations from residents and activists of systemic racism and police violence in France's poor and ethnically diverse neighbourhoods. Allegations the authorities deny. Bernard Smith has more from Paris.
Mamadou Kamara's brother was shot dead by the police in 2018. This charity football tournament has been held in Gay Kamara's honour in the years since. 8 police bullets hit Gay's car when he was caught up in a sting operation targeting a stolen car next to his in a northern Paris suburb. No police officer was ever charged in connection with his death.
La justice pour Gay en France, on ne l'aura plus.
We won't get justice for Gay in France. We've exhausted all the appeals and they refused everything. They refuse to share the surveillance footage. Refusing to cooperate can lead to death here, and the police will never be condemned.
All the young men here come from the sort of low-income towns and suburbs where, they say, police and community relations seem to be driven more by confrontation than cooperation.
The French police aren't behaving properly. They mistreat the youth, especially the youth from the suburbs. They make blunders, always check the same people's ID and speak badly to them. They insulted me once. They told me, "Talk well, shut up, you fool."
I didn't expect this. It started with the tragic death of a kid and turned into looting and shop robberies. They're hurting themselves. They're hurting the population who's innocent. There are other ways to get your voice heard.
Mamadou understands the frustrations of people angry at the shooting of Naël in Nanterre.
These videos show these are not blunders, these are executions. My brother Gay's death shocked all the local residents. They wanted revolution, but I told them, I can't push people to break the law. If you want to fight for Gay's death, then let's organise ourselves and find solutions for our youth. However, revolution's understandable. We've been asking for police accountability for 40 years.
France's police union has admitted a breakdown of trust, a spokesman blaming government policies focusing on intervention and repression rather than neighbourhood policing.
Emmanuel Macron has postponed a state visit to Germany to handle what has become the worst crisis to face his presidency since the Yellow Vest protests 5 years ago. Now Macron must work out how to address the long-standing complaints of police violence and systematic racism in France's low-income suburbs.
A manhunt is underway after 2 people were killed and 28 others wounded in a mass shooting at a block party in the city of Baltimore, the latest deadly incident of gun violence in the United States.
2 people were killed in Baltimore and 28 others injured. 3 are in a critical condition in hospital. The mayor says the latest shooting highlights the need to tackle the spread of illegal guns.
This is an absolute tragedy that did not have to happen. It again highlights the impacts and the need to deal with the overproliferation of illegal guns on our streets and the ability for those who should not have them to get their hands on them. And also the need for accountability on each and every level when you're dealing with guns and gun violence.
We know that this shooting unfolded at what was supposed to be a celebration of the 4th of July, which is in coming days. This was a neighborhood block party in the suburb of Baltimore, where overnight police received these calls. People initially thinking that those gunshots were fireworks exploding as they were celebrating the nation's independence. But of course, it was these deadly bullets being shot. 2 people died from this. Police found the body of an 18-year-old woman at the scene. A 20-year-old man later died at the hospital. Many more injured, 28 in all, 3 of them still in critical condition at the hospital. Now, what's very tragic about this, of course, is that Americans are in a sense getting used to or expecting the worst with these announcements. It was just a year ago that in another July 4th celebration in Illinois, that 7 people were gunned dead in a mass shooting while watching a parade. The Gun Violence Archive, which is a nonprofit that looks at the data here, says that annually on July 4th or the days surrounding it, there are 5 mass shootings a year just surrounding this holiday. That's defined as at least 4 people injured in each shooting. So very sadly, this is a terrible start to the holiday weekend, yet one that perhaps some Americans were expecting to hear about, at least in the news, and certainly they would not want this to happen in their own backyard, as so sadly has happened in Baltimore.
It's time now to preview what's coming up on Morning Barbados today. Well, we're going to be telling you all about Family Fest 2023 and how you can get involved. Life, love, and hope. That is back with Dr. Denise Charles, as well as a new segment called The Eyes Have It. So if you think you can identify people by looking deep into their eyes, it might be an opportunity for you to play and win with Morning Barbados. Plus, we feature a few Bajans afar. That's all coming up at 6:30, but next, more news, sports, and weather. Stay with us. Well, despite some shootings and murders in recent weeks, it's been made clear that the gang truce is very much intact. Minister of State in the Office of the Attorney General, Corey Lane, says Phase 1 of the peace treaty is holding satisfactorily.
We need to understand what that truce was really about. And from my reading, it was really about specific groups of people having a major and continuous retaliation against each other. So I must make it abundantly clear that that is still holding, because we are not seeing those groups warring against each other. What we are seeing, on the other hand, is a set of persons who have determined that they're not prepared to work hard or even have a side hustle to support themselves, but feel that it is necessary to rob in order to gain the things that they would like to gain in this country. So I want to make sure that we have a fundamental separation between the two things.
On the heels of the massive security breach at the FET powder over the weekend, the producer Paul Johnson says if this becomes a trend, FET organizers will have to look at finding more secure venues. Speaking to the Morning Report, he says they've been hosting powder for years and what took place caused him to rethink.
Certainly, if I'm going to have another event, be looking for something that is super secure. We have another mass event called Rise, yes, we will be going ahead with that, but it's at the Kensington Oval, and I think events are going to have to look for super secure venues from now on.
Consumers are now paying less for all petroleum products. The reduction started at midnight, with the retail price of gasoline now at $4.07 per litre, a decrease of 10 cents. Diesel is down by 12 cents, now costing $3.30 per litre. Kerosene is selling at $1.58 per litre, a reduction of 4 cents. The adjusted prices of liquefied petroleum gas is now $156.27 for the 100-pound cylinder, $44.17 for the 25-pound cylinder, $39.03 for the 22-pound cylinder, and $35.48 for the 20-pound cylinder. Guyana's Minister of Health and the ministry have launched a campaign aimed at increasing the use of pre-exposure prophylaxis, or PrEP, a drug that is 98% effective in the prevention against AIDS. Despite its introduction 2 years ago, Program Manager of the National AIDS Program Secretariat, Dr. Tariq Jagnarine, says the agency has been running low on usage.
PrEP, it's not new to Guyana, it's not new to the world, but ideally, a lot of persons are not accessing it because I guess they don't know. But PrEP, there is the medication. It is in Guyana. It's a medication that prevents you from getting HIV. It's 98% effective, and it's very good for its use in persons who think they are of substantial risk.
Dr. Tariq Jagnarine says the campaign focuses on PrEP for sex package and is intended to prevent persons who are at risk of being infected with HIV.
And so this is a simple package that you collect that, one, it supplies you with educational material, condoms, lubricants, as you can see here. Most importantly, it gives you an opportunity to access an HIV self-testing. And we're putting 2 of these kits inside so you can test not only yourself, but your partner. And once you think you're at substantial risk, we even include, we can give you event-driven PrEP. You can use PrEP. This is the PrEP pill here. Or we give you continuous PrEP, an entire bottle.
PrEP can reduce the chances of getting HIV from sex or injection drug use.
Still in Guyana, the National Small Business Week, set to take place from July 21st to 29th, 2023, will see the participation of 60 small enterprises. The Arthur Chung Conference Center event is in Greater Georgetown is themed Strategic Collaboration for Success. This week-long activity aims to provide a platform for small businesses to showcase what they have to offer.
The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GCCI, in alliance with local tech giant Guyana Telephone and Telegraph Company, GTT, are the masterminds of the event. GCCI President Kester Hudson on Friday, during a media briefing at the Pegasus Hotel Corporate Suites, Georgetown, told journalists that the National Small Business Week aids at creating platforms for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, to showcase what they have to offer in the corporate sector.
What we continue to do is to promote and to encourage small, medium-sized, and enterprise-type businesses. And more so, let me say the MSMEs. We recognize that you have quite a few businesses who, in their own space, operate but don't have the resources to grow and develop.
The Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce is also on board. Hudson reminded that 70% of the over 800 GCCI members are small enterprise owners. Evie Gurcharan, chairperson of the Entrepreneurship and Small Business Committee, said the event will foster business relations among micro and medium enterprises. She explained its objectives of a 5-day teenship, which will be part of the week's activities.
We're covering topics such as leadership, management, organizational structure, nothing very intense, but a very nice immersive experience where they will work with a manager or a CEO for 5 days and understand how businesses run at a medium scale.
Teenship is geared at empowering students to act as hands on training with accomplished business executives. Meanwhile, Urson Ferguson, Chief Operations Officer of GTT Business Solutions, offered these remarks.
And we expect and we hope that more small businesses take advantage of the opportunities and put themselves in a position where they can take advantage of these opportunities.
The rate of inflation in Zimbabwe is so high that the highest denomination note can't even buy an egg. We have a report on how that African nation is handling that situation.
Downtown in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, is where a lot of small businesses and street traders operate, and where shoppers look for bargains despite high inflation and price increases.
We've got the official exchange rate and the unofficial exchange rate. What has tended to happen over the past few months is that prices have largely been driven by the unofficial exchange rate, and its movement has also been quite escalative, and that is also translated into price escalations.
The government blames currency speculators for the crash in the value of the Zimbabwe dollar, as well as businesses using the black market to price their goods. Here is my shopping list, and this is what I bought, the basics. Soap, sugar, flour, cooking oil. I've spent $16 on these groceries. Let's go to a bigger supermarket and find out how much these same items will cost. This is what I bought, the same groceries for $31 from the store. This is why many Zimbabweans prefer buying from informal traders. The US dollar is legal tender here. Most people prefer using it, another reason why the local currency keeps losing value. Public sector workers are demanding their salaries in US dollars and an increase in allowances to cushion them against inflation.
You can't have prices increasing every week. You can't have incomes, diminishing every week. It's a national security issue. So we have to have a serious paradigm shift and accept that, listen, in the meantime, because of serious issues or environmental issues, whether it's a perceived risk, lack of confidence, we have to actually put our best foot forward as a country and use the US dollar.
To make ends meet, people are now selling goods from their cars, mainly in US dollars. The government recently directed authorities to impose some duties and taxes exclusively in local currency, hoping this would increase demand for the Zimbabwe dollar. Right now, there is no guarantee the government intervention is going to work.
In sports, Barbados have won 2 more medals at the CAC Games in El Salvador. In skeet shooting, Michelle Elliott got the silver yesterday, scoring a 39. That was a gap of 7 behind the winner Gabriela Rodriguez of Mexico. Then in cycling, Amber Joseph won the bronze in the women's omnium after finishing 3rd with 119 points behind the winner Victoria Velasco of Mexico. That's now 4 medals to Team Barbados after the gold by Chelsea Tuock in surfing and bronze by Jabali Breedy in boxing. And in more results in hockey, the Barbados men's team defeated Jamaica 4-2 to advance to the semi-finals on Tuesday. Later today, Barbados women will play their semi-final match against Cuba. In cycling, in the men's omnium, Edwin Sutherland was 6th with 105 points. In tennis, all of our singles players are now out. Xavier Lawrence lost his second-round match to Rafael Abdul of Venezuela 6-3, 6-1. Hannah Chambers lost her women's first-round contest to Michelle Arogian of El Salvador 6-4, 4-6, 3-10, while Serena Bryan lost in the first round to Cuba's Yelades Luzaro 7-5, 6-3. In horse racing, Matilda was the winner of the featured Midsummer Night Classic at the Garrison Savannah. Ridden by Rashid Hughes, Matilda won the event that went 1,800 meters in 1 minute 57.4 seconds.
And away they go for the Midsummer Creole Classic. And on the outside, Big Chiefa is early into stride and between horses. That one is Let It Be Me, followed by Mats. That's the top three. Then Matilda is the next one through. As they come to the corner, and it is still Big Chiefa in front, just by about 3 parts of a length. From on the outside is Mats, as they're swinging to the bend. In third position, Let It Be Me, followed by on the outside is Amoretta. Tucked in along the rails, that one running very nice is Northern Lady, followed by Caribbean Kitten. Drogon is the next one through, followed by Priscilla. Then on the outside of these is Order of St. George, and at the back of affairs is Hot Stepper. That's the way it is as they pass the 5.5 along pole. And they've done the opening quarter in 25 flat. And Big Chiefa is in front, just by about 1.5 lengths now to Northern Lady. Mance is in third position. Antonio Bishop just keeping them very into contention. On the outside is Let It Be Me. Along the rails, running very well is Matilda. As they go along now up the hill. And it is still Big Chiefa playing Catch Me If You Can. Is in front now by about 3 lengths. In second position is Let It Be Me, followed now by Matilda. The others are struggling at this moment. Mance is now being set alight. Drogon is also in contention. That's the way they race. They've done the half in 49 and 1, 3 parts in 114 and 3. And it is still Big Chiefa in front. Let It Be Me is being set alight. Also here comes Matilda now sweeping by horses with 1.5 furlongs to go. And it is Matilda who hits the lead. Inside the final furlong, and it is Matilda in front, Big Chiefa. Here comes Priscilla with a run. On the outside is Hot Stepper. When it is all over, where the shouting, Matilda cantering home, easy as she pleases. Matilda wins it from Hot Stepper.
It's time now to take a look at the weather. The barometric pressure stands at 1011.5 millibars. It's 27.3 degrees Celsius already. The relative humidity is 87% and the winds are blowing out of the east at 34 kilometers per hour. Present weather, cloudy with slight haze. Sea conditions for today. Moderate to no water with swells ranging from 1.5 to 2.5 meters and increasing. Small craft operators and sea bathers should exercise caution as you venture out today. And here's a look at how the tides roll in. General conditions across Barbados today. Most cloudy to overcast with the occasional breeze, scattered moderate showers, occasional gusty winds, and a very slight chance of isolated thunderstorms. As we move into the evening period, you can expect much of the same, mostly cloudy to overcast with occasional breeze, scattered moderate showers, occasional gusty winds, and a very slight chance of isolated thunderstorms. Here's a peek at how some international cities will fare weather-wise today. Pretty warm across the world. Now our next newscast is Newsday at 12 noon on TV8, followed by The World at 1 on our radio network of stations, 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. That's the Morning Report. Morning Barbados is next.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
It's Monday, July 3rd. Good morning to you and welcome to our presentation of Morning Barbados, the first for July. Hey, new month and new plans, reeks of something new. So if you have to start all over, now's a good time for you to do that. I'm Tisha Hines. I'll be here with you until 8 o'clock this morning, and we have loads planned for you today. So I'm hoping that you can stick around. Some of the children are home because exams are over. Others are heading out to school, but I know it certainly shouldn't be as hectic as it has been over the last couple of months as we've been shuttling the little ones to school and so on. Of course, we're getting ready for the summer holiday as well. So make sure you check us out online too, because we're streaming on YouTube as well as on Facebook. You can also find us on Instagram. Simply search CBC Barbados. It's that simple. All right, so coming up on today's show, we have a new segment that should be fun. Now, if you think you can identify people by their eyes, then that's definitely a segment for you. You know, they say the eyes are the gateway to the soul. Who knows? So we'll be looking deep into some people's eyes, and we hope you can identify them. It's called The Eyes Have It. So listen out for clues all this morning. Now, we're also going to be telling you all about some Bajans who are living afar. Morin Griffith lives in the USA, and she's going to be telling us all about her life. She's been away from Barbados for over 22 years, so we're going to check in with her and see how she is doing. Also, a YouTuber who is from right here in Barbados. We are going to be talking to her. Tina Ariane is coming on to share with us all about her exploits online. Plus, the segment Life, Love and Hope is back with Dr. Denise Charles. If you don't know, she's an educator, academic author, and life and relationship coach. So she is going to be coaching us all the way to happiness. That's right. So that is also coming up on today's presentation of Morning Barbados. What did you do this weekend? I had a busy weekend. I'm sure you know that. Of course, we were getting ready for the big launch of Crop Over. There was the Digicel ceremonial delivery of the last canes and vintage Calypso tent, and that came off on Saturday at Heyman's plantation, Heyman's factory rather, and it was quite a time. We had a really good time with that as well. All right, time now for us to introduce you to our very first interview for the morning, and we'd like to welcome Cornelius Bartlett. Good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning, and thanks for welcoming me.
All right, well, it's good to have you with us, and you're here to tell us all about Family Fest 2023, and it's around the corner because I think it got started yesterday, so
That's
it's
right.
not even around the corner, it literally is here.
It's here upon us.
So tell us all about Family Fest.
Okay, well, Family Fest, well, we started yesterday. But let's back up a bit. Family Fest started actually in 2020. And what is Family Fest about? We have a vision at Family Fest. So it's just not myself, it's a committee. We have a committee of 7. And we put together a set of panel discussions every year in July. So for the entire month of July, we're going to have panel discussions geared at helping each member of the family. And when I said each member of the family, we have the first week in July as Men's Week, second week, Women's Week, third week, Children's Week, and the last week, Family Week. And after that, we culminate with a Family Fun Day on the first Monday in August, which is 7th of August.
Let's talk about the start of it. 2020 was a very interesting year, and by July of 2020, we were deep in COVID.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the launch of an event like Family Week, Family Fest, at a time like that, where families were kind of, you know, on pressure for more reasons than one.
I laugh because, and this may sound strange, COVID was a blessing for us. And let me explain what I mean. The concept that God gave me of Family Fest happened in 2019. I would have met with the press, and we would have had a press launch and all that in 2019, thinking that we were going to have a physical location to do these panel discussions. And so by March of 2020, as we were going towards the month of July, thinking about how much money we were going to have to spend on, because we were right here actually on Mornin Barbados in January of 2020, talking about that this could cost $1 million because we were looking at physical venues. When COVID hit in March, we had to retool our thinking, and then we realized, you know what, we're going to have to occupy an online space. And guess what? The online space has been a blessing because, as you would know, and everybody probably knows, it's a lot less expensive to be online. And you can reach a lot more people online it's a lot more convenient to be online, and then online has the history. So when you go back to, if you go on Family Fest Barbados on Facebook, you're going to see probably close to 100 panel discussions that we would have completed over the last 3 years. This is our 4th year.
All right, that's wonderful. Of course, at that time, families were kind of thrust together in that you couldn't leave the house anyways.
No.
So, I mean, you had to learn more. People were, for the first time, learning about themselves and learning about their families, their siblings, learning about their loved ones. So very, very interesting. So let's talk about these family discussions. You're starting with men first.
Yes.
In the first week, which is this week.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
yesterday,
that.
Actually, if you go on to Facebook now and look at what we did yesterday, yesterday's discussion was phenomenal. We had a discussion yesterday on men's abuse. You know, usually when you hear about abuse, you think about a man abusing a woman. We looked at the ways men are abused, and the panel discussion was planned for 1 hour. It was so riveting that it went into an hour and a half. You know, we had people like Sean Springer and Fabian Sargent and Bishop Mark Haywood. And that panel discussion was just off the chart. And I would encourage anybody to go and listen to that panel discussion from last night, Family Fest Barbados. During the rest of the month, we're having discussions on things like abuse of women, abuse of children. The whole issue of phones, put down the phone and listen to me, is a series that we have spanning between men, women, and children as well. So it's going to be a whole set of very interesting panel discussions. And just bear in mind that what we're doing is, because you might be thinking, why is it that you are just doing panel discussions? We're doing panel discussion because we think that it's important to start with the conversation. If you're going to heal families, because a lot of what is happening is everybody is running around like chickens with their head cut off. And I know everybody has good intentions, but as I was talking to this morning to one of your staff members, we talk about gun violence, we talk about domestic violence, we talk about the videos we see of school children doing this and doing that, and we commentate on what I consider the symptoms. These are just symptoms. Think about it. They are symptoms of a deeper problem. What's the deeper problem? The deeper problem is family.
All right, what do you hope will come out of these panel discussions and ultimately Family Fest? You know, kind of forging these, you know, being at the forefront of getting these conversations started.
What is going to come out of it is that we want to bring a level of self-awareness. I mean, even us as individuals, you and myself as individuals, we can only get better when we become mindful and self-aware. You're never going to change something that you do not see as a problem. I mean, if I look at myself, for example, over the years I've changed, I've evolved. People who went to school with me, I'm not the same person. Why? Because at various levels in my life, I became self-aware. And self-awareness is the start of it. And so what we're doing at Family Fest is we are bringing panel discussions, which is really the catalyst for self-awareness. You know, you might have a man, a woman, or a child sit down and listen to us in a panel discussion, and then a light bulb goes off. And then it starts a whole new trajectory in life for you. So I'm personally, and my committee as well, but personally, I'm extremely committed to this work. And it's charity work. We don't get paid. We're passionate. I'm a family advocate, always was. And I'm someone who not only has children, but I have grandchildren as well. Yeah? So as a human being, when I look at life, I look at the future. I'm not caught up with it now. This morning, the same staff member I had a conversation with asked me, talk to me about the things that are happening now. I said, well, we have to employ a combination of things. Yes, they're going to build more prisons, they're going to get more policemen, because you have people that are bent and they're already corrupted already from birth. What do? You try to capture them from birth. You try to help men to become more conscious fathers and husbands. You try to get wives to become more conscious mothers and wives. By extension, they raise conscious children who are able to engage with society in a way that is positive and productive. So that's what Family Fest is about, bringing about the conversation to bring about the consciousness that starts a new trajectory.
The second week of July is about the ladies.
That's right.
So what's planned in terms of the discussions for the women?
Well, what we try to do is we try to give everybody the same fair chance. So we talk about men's abuse this week. We're going to have women's abuse. We talk about men on their phones, women on their phones, and children. So we try to span it. We have a little variation in some cases, but generally we try to deal with the same issue so that it's parallel, you know. But outside of Family Fest month, what we're doing is we're going to have panel discussions, like maybe 1 or 2 per month, apart from other initiatives, because we want to get into schools. And in fact, let me put it this way. Right now, I want to make an appeal, not just for support, financial support of Barbados, corporate Barbados, and private citizens, but I also want to send out an appeal for persons who are skilled in areas. We have a database already that we're building, but we want people like law enforcement, judiciary, counselors, people who are counselors within the secondary and primary school systems, psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, priests, pastors, you name it. If you believe that you have the skills and the knowledge that can help somebody, come and hold hands with Family Fest and help us to help families. Otherwise, we're going to continue commentating on all we see on social media. We're going to commentate on what we hear in the news about the shootings and the murders and the students that are behaving lewd and rude. We're going to continue commentating. And I want to ask the question, are we content to get every day in Barbados and just commentate on the ills that we see? Or do you want to join agencies like Family Fest and Men Empowerment Network Services, Fabian Sargent? These are all Barbadians who are taking their time, free of cost, to help build and restructure society.
All right, I know Family Fest will culminate with a big family fun day.
That's right.
On August 7th. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. On August the 7th, we decided that, because every year we end with a concert, and we decided, you know what, let's do something a little different, but let it involve all the family. So on the 7th of August at Morin Griffith Secondary School grounds, we're having a family fun day, and we want to go back to the good old-time Bajan fun days. So we have a team that's trying to put together some very imaginative activities away from the normal. So in other words, we don't want to have a fun day where you have children just bored on their phones and devices. We want to have the entire family engaged, the father, the mother, children. We want to have all of them engaged on that day. So it's going to be exciting. We're going to have some giveaways, and we're going to advertise it. But it is really, I think, a fitting way to culminate Family Fest 2023.
Fantastic. I think it's a wonderful initiative. We definitely need to get back to family. And family doesn't look sometimes what we think it should look like, or the construct that people put out as to what family should look like. But I think it's important that we share with everybody that whatever your family looks like, and when I say that, I mean what Barbados used to be in terms of the extended family being very, very engaged and very much included in what was done, how children were raised, and so on. These days, we have young grandfathers like you who are still in the workforce. So I don't see you doing any babysitting. I don't know. That's me overstretching. But you know what I mean. The family structure as we know it. I'm talking culturally as Barbadians. We grew up in these matriarchal homes. We grew up with, grandmother being in charge, grandfathers sometimes present, but, having big extended families, generations living in one household and things like that. And we've moved away from that in the name of sometimes progress. So that has truly changed, what we see of the family structure. And I know in the U.S. it's referred to as the turnkey generation. I believe this was my generation, where the children, because the parents are still at home, they get up, they go to school, they dress themselves, they come home, they have the key, they go in the door, they take care of themselves, pick themselves something in the evening. So not necessarily having that presence or that influence of the parents. And it's not to cast aspersions on parents and say that they're not doing their best, but we definitely need to get back to that level of support and community support, and the way that we saw and engaged with family members before, to be able to, get back to who we are in that regard. So with that in mind, I definitely love what you're presenting. And, Fabian knows his stuff when it comes to what's happening. A lot of people have their eyes shut when it comes to what's happening in society. And because it's not necessarily physically touching them, they feel like they're not included. So I want to thank you, congratulate you. We definitely look forward to Family Fest 2023. I'm happy that you said it's a charity, so people know that you're doing this as hard work Hard work, but hard work.
But
yes.
that costs us. So I want to really send an appeal to corporate Barbados and private. Even if you give $1, we have a bank account now that you should be seeing on screen, I hope, where you can contribute to Family Fest and the things that we do. None of the members of Family Fest are paid, but obviously when we're doing advertising, we're doing press releases, we're going to send people places, we have to pay stipends and all that. It costs.
Absolutely. I can absolutely see that. Yeah. I want to thank you for coming in, Mr. Cornelius Bartlett. Family Fest 2023. You, of course, should be a part of it. All you have to do is jump online to find out more. Check them out online. Links.familyfestbarbados.org. It's that simple. It's right on the screen. So keep on keeping on. I look forward to what you're bringing for the women next week. Interesting stuff. The discussion should be rich. And of course, you can go back. The good thing about being online is you can go back and see what was talked about and what was done. So make sure you check out Family Fest 2023. We're going to take a break and come on back on Morning Barbados. Do stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Let's see how much you know and how you can recognize people simply by the eyes. Look at that. Would you be able to recognize me if you could only see my eyes? Well, let's see if you can. This next person was a finalist in the 2019 MQI 98.1 The One Soca Monarch competition. Let's see those eyes. I hope you can identify. I know who it is already. He was a finalist in the 2019 MQI 98.1 The One Soca Monarch competition. Oh, so you know it's a man. In spite of that, somebody's in the back saying, it looks like me. First time I've ever heard that I look like a dude. All right. Again, a finalist in the 2019 MQI 98.1 The One Soca Monarch competition. The eyes have it. I recognize those eyes already. I definitely look into people's eyes when I talk about them. A lot of people don't look off, they look, but I look at the eyes, so I recognize those eyes. But do you? Remember, all you have to do is give us a call, and let's see if you can guess who those eyes belong to. It's that simple. So we're going to be giving you clues throughout the morning, just in case you don't get it right. Remember, you can call us on 228-5562 or 228-5563 to tell us who those eyes belong to, because the eyes have it. I absolutely love it. All right, so make sure that you check it out. I don't know, can we show the eyes one more time? Or is that it? Is it just one glance at the eyes? Yes? So that we see them. Okay, we're going to give you another chance to see the eyes a little later. but think about it. Hey, we're going to take a break and come on back. We're telling you about a young man who is working to raise some funds to go overseas to follow his passion. That's next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, so he definitely is passionate about the arts, and we love young people who are passionate about the arts. We love young people of all types and shapes and sizes and of all disciplines, but he loves the arts, and he's here this morning to tell us about how he's following his dreams. Joshua Bignell is a student of the Barbados Community College. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. All right, so tell me about what initially piqued your interest in the arts, and how did you realize it was something that you wanted to pursue as a career?
Well, for me, I've been in and out of it, dipping my feet in the pool and out the pool. I saw a production here in Barbados, and it really sparked my interest in it all. Before I was doing, little chants in church, talking about being busy for God and whatnot, but seeing musical theater on stage here in Barbados, it really lit a fire inside of me, and I became really inspired, and I wanted to follow along the path of those who I saw on stage.
Oh, so you're doing theatre arts
yes, please.
At the community college. Talk to us about that.
No, I'm doing lit and history.
Lit and history, but you're hoping to do theatre arts as you move on.
Yes, please.
All right, so literature and history, is that feeding into your passion as well?
I think it's very important for an artist to be very educated, because we are telling stories, we are bringing about change in some ways, so I think it's very good to understand the world that we're coming from, past and present, and to be very articulate in what you do and what you're saying, because you are sending messages to a large set of people. So that's why I chose lit and history, also kind of as a backup plan, just to keep my parents reassured that if I might fall out, I could.
We know how it is with Caribbean parents. There must be a backup plan when it comes to the arts. Hopefully one of these days we'll be able to fully move away from that.
Yes, hopefully.
Now, this theatre arts, you're moving toward studying theatre arts at the University of Michigan.
Yes, please.
Talk to us about how that opportunity came about and what the challenges are in pursuing it.
Okay, I've been looking to go away for a while, since I was 16. I was a very eager kid. I saw people around me going away and doing things that I wanted to do, so I was kind of gearing up to leave for a minute. But I wasn't ready yet. We all think that we're at a stage that we might not necessarily be at. So when I really sat back with myself and assess my skills, I told myself I'd wait a couple years and audition for schools. So usually auditioning takes from the months of August to December, the application and audition process. I auditioned to 3 schools. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to get into every school that I auditioned for. And I chose Michigan because it's a really good school. It's a top 20 university in the world. They have a renowned acting program, and they really have a reputation for producing some of the best and people who actively work in the industry. And for me, that's something that's really important to me. I don't just want to go overseas and spend a lot of money and go to school and then come back and just blank. I want to actually go over and tread a path for others to follow. Yeah.
All right, talk to me about what the audition process was like.
It was really cool. I didn't go overseas. I stayed here. I did it online. I had this whole makeshift studio in my bedroom. I had to flip my bed and everything and set up my camera. And it was really stressful at first because obviously I'm competing with those overseas, and people got a chance to go into the room and got to speak to the audition panel face to face, and I was kind of discouraged a little bit. I was like, oh, what if I can't really relay my skills that thoroughly through the screen and Zoom? But after a while, with the whole COVID situation that happened, it kind of eased my worries a little bit. But it was really cool. Everybody on the panel was welcoming, and I really just leaned into the challenge of Zoom that it gave me, and it came out for the best. Yeah.
I know you've had some experience being in multiple stage productions here in Barbados and so on. How has that contributed and poured into developing you as you are today?
The experiences I've had throughout the years, I'm grateful for all of it. Each year I think I've learned something special, and it's very integral to what I do and how I approach things now. I would say that you know, being hands-on in something that you love is really important. Like, I could read books all day about the arts and how to act and do what I want to do, but really like getting into it and putting my hands in the dirt and actively working through it myself and coming up with my own ways and thinking out of the box and like tackling the challenges that might come from actually doing it on stage. It really allowed me to become sort of a critical thinker and to think outside the box. You know, creativity, I'm an artist. An artist, creativity, that's the root of why we do what we do. And doing it hands-on definitely like helped my creativity to grow, and yeah, I'm really grateful for all of it.
All right, that's excellent. Now, how are you gonna get everything together to get to the University of Michigan? Because I know that you're in kind of fundraising mode.
Yes, please. Luckily, I've received a scholarship from the school. Usually, I'm an international, obviously, and they usually give the maximum for scholarships is 10K. But I appealed, and they were really impressed. So my scholarship has been shot up to 23K a year, and it's renewable a year. So I was starting out and working out the numbers. I was really trying to take things down into increments because I didn't want to. You know, it can become really overwhelming dealing with large sums of money. So I looked at other outlets where I could find funding from. You know, I'm looking at loans, trying to work with my parents at home, trying to increment. So it's not, obviously it's money, but to make it as efficient, as effective as possible. So like I won't be in like tens of thousands of dollars in debt later on. And I am in the process of getting those loans worked out, and obviously my school starts on August 28th, and I'm looking to leave like around like mid-August. So I'm also like packing, working out what flights I'm gonna take, like what gear I need, because you know Michigan is very cold. It's completely different from Barbados. So you know, just trying to get myself prepared for like the cultural changes that might come, whether it be climate or people.
You're going to be excellent, Joshua. We just want to make sure that you can get there and you're comfortable. So tell us how we can help.
You can reach out to me and give, if you please. If anybody knows any organizations that help with this sort of thing, I'd be grateful if anybody could contact me. I have a saying that I've been saying recently: if you have any rich aunties or uncles out there, like if you know anybody, you can just send them my way. But yeah, realistically, just if you give, if you feel like investing in the youth, if you feel inspired by somebody like doing what I do and what I'm doing right now, giving is the most important thing. Even if it's telling a friend who would tell a friend who would tell that rich uncle or aunt that might be out there, it would be greatly appreciated.
What's that rounded figure that you're looking at?
So I'm thinking my loans are, I would like my loans to cover my housing, so I don't want to stress on that. But in terms of tuition, I'm looking at around like 20,000 US to cover the rest of it. And also I would like to live comfortably when I'm over there, but that's also in my like loan category. But the more that I'm given, the easier it would be for me to comfortably stay, because it's a 4-year program and I don't necessarily want to go, have a fun time, get all the information and soak it out and do what I'm doing over there and have to come back because of financial like struggles. Yeah, I'm trying to think of it holistically and thinking about it smart. I don't want to jump the gun and then come back home, and I don't think it would be a disappointment in any way, but I just in terms of, you know.
Listen, once you get started, it's gonna just go. It's gonna happen. Because what we know is, you know, once you're determined to get something done, and you get on that path, you know, the universe, things fall in place, and they're gonna happen. And there are a number of programs that I can think of already that you maybe can pour into. So we definitely are going to think about ways that we can help. And you're also Commonwealth alum.
Yes, I am.
So Commonwealthians get together. I know that you have a number of things going on where you help people. We want to see Joshua on the big silver screen in the next few years, and that means that we have to help him. So congratulations to you on being accepted to the University of Michigan. And you know, I'm really proud that you've come forward with this appeal, because so many people kind of just sit back. You know, they realize that there are some limits to achieving their dreams, and they're afraid to say, I need some help.
Yeah.
You know, and there's no shame in that. All right, so let's see how we can help Joshua Bignell make his dream come true. If you can, if you know a rich auntie or uncle, that's fine. But I know there are a number of programs that help students as well. I certainly will be making a few phone calls today, and you should too. Hey, we're going to take a break and come back. When we come back, remember, we're still looking at the eyes to see if the eyes have it. And we're talking to Dr. Denise Charles. Life and love is up for discussion next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 5.5 minutes after 7 o'clock. Time now for an update of the news. The iconic Solar Dynamics Limited is under new management, and the man who has taken over has big plans to grow the business. The company, which pioneered solar water heating systems in Barbados under the leadership of founder and owner James Husbands, has been acquired by businessman George Connolly. Mr. Connolly, who is now the company's CEO, shared his plans to offer additional products and services during last evening's The People's Business program on CBC TV8.
Another thing that we are doing is that we're going to make a pivot again to photovoltaic. So we're going to offer photovoltaic systems to have people on grid or off grid. We're going to add that to the core business. Because of the heat being caused by climate change, and we have El Nino for the next 3 years, we're also going to be offering solar AC units. We're going to be offering those for sale again throughout the 15 territories where we operate. Something that we already do, we offer pool heating systems, and this is solar-based, solar-powered pool heating systems. We're going to expand that business to all the markets rather than just Barbados and St. Lucia where we currently do it. And the other thing that we're going to do is something that I think is very dear to my heart, irrigation. There's a product called an automatic water generator. And what that product does is that it takes the process of condensation to create water every single day. Anything from 10 liters to 5,000 liters a day. Now, this irrigation platform, solar powered again, can reduce a lot of the challenges that we're going to have over the years with irrigating lands for farmers or going into districts who are water deprived. And in those areas, we can put a solar powered unit in the middle of a field or in the middle of a street, and up to 250 individuals per day will have enough water to satisfy their needs.
Mr. Connolly stressed the company's increased relevance in today's world that is more climate conscious than ever before. He also noted that the local firm's solar water heating system is a unique product.
I want anyone to tell me one other technical product that has been developed in the Caribbean that can be sold globally or is being sold globally. Rather, anyone. One technical product built and developed in the Caribbean that's being sold throughout the region or globally. And the only product that I can think of is Solar Dynamics. the potential that this product has, particularly in an age now where it seems that it's built for this particular period that we're in, where climate change and RE are such buzzwords now, when 50 years ago, or rather 449 years ago, it was just an idea that someone thought would save a little bit on gas. Now, it's not seen as just being able to save on gas, but it's a way of life. It is something that we have to adopt if we want to save this planet. So there's no better time. There's no better time for anyone in business to pivot green and see the opportunities that are available and actually be doing this not just for the profit that comes with it, but be doing it for good.
Mr. Husband says one of the most satisfying achievements of his stewardship of the company is making Barbados a global leader in this technological field.
I think one of the most important things from my perspective is making Barbados the #1 country in the world, British thermal unit per 1,000 population. And this is measured by Solar Energy Worldwide, which is an institution formed by the World Renewable, the Authority on World Energy. And Barbados is #1. And Barbados is also #3 in the world in the penetration of solar water heaters per 1,000 population. Well, those are two benchmarks which are literally unbelievable. Those are achievements that for a little boy from St. Martin's and St. Philip, I could not have expected to achieve that.
Consumers are now paying less for all petroleum products. The reduction started at midnight, with the retail price of gasoline now at $4.07 per litre, a decrease of 10 cents. Diesel is down 12 cents, now costing $3.30 per litre. Kerosene is selling at $1.58 per litre, a reduction of 4 cents. The adjusted prices of liquefied petroleum gas now $156.27 for the 100-pound cylinder, $44.17 for the 25-pound cylinder, $39.03 for the 22-pound cylinder, and $35.48 for the 20-pound cylinder. And that's our update of news. Remember, we're going to bring you more news at 12 p.m. You can listen out for CBC Newsday, followed by The World at 1 via our radio network of stations, 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. Morning Barbados continues after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning.
12 and a half minutes after 7 o'clock. Why didn't they do the graphic like that for us? And that would be the face, just the eyes would be out. But no, the eyes are in because the eyes have it. We're going to give you another peek at those eyes that we're sharing with you today. And it's all about the face for him. It's all about the face for him. Now that clue gives it away. If you don't know, like, come on. It's all about the face for him. Get it? Look at those eyes. Can you tell whose eyes these are? Oh, you can call us. We're not going to take the calls right now. We're going to take them later. But make sure you get in that queue. I am told that the phone lines are going crazy already. Remember those numbers, 228-5562 and 228-5563. I know a few people who get through every single time. I hope you guys don't get through this morning. I want somebody new. I'm not kidding. All right. It's time now for us to talk life, love, and hope with Dr. Denise Charles, who's joining us. She's an educator, an academic. She's an author. She's a life and relationship coach. And she has the Digicel opening gala and ceremonial delivery of the last gains under her belt.
Thank you, Tisha.
I'm selling all
it was
your
nice
business.
seeing you. That's okay.
It was a pleasure
seeing you. It was totally
too.
enjoyable. Totally enjoyable.
It was. So welcome. Good morning and welcome to July.
That's right. I can't believe we're here already. It's soon Christmas.
You're telling me. For those people who don't take their Christmas trees down, it's an excellent time for them because the Christmas trees are up already. All right, so today we're looking at loss in a holistic type of way in terms of overcoming different types of loss for both personal and, personal relationships and maybe friendships because we don't necessarily see, so maybe family and friends, how people are able to kind of deal with loss. And we don't often look at loss the way we should because sometimes we lose friendships or we lose a relationship with a family member and we don't necessarily consider that loss, but sometimes you see in people, you will feel a loss, especially if you've had a long time relationship. People say they were friends with somebody from school days and all of a sudden, we would say in Bajan parlance, you fall out. And I think that accounts for a loss as well that a lot of people don't deal with. So there's a lot of pent-up anger and stuff like that.
Yes. Yes, Tisha, thank you. Actually, one of the worst things that can happen with respect to loss is to have it not acknowledged. And we're not only talking about acknowledging it at the level of the individual, which is obviously very important, and acknowledging it at the level of the family, but even as a society, how do we treat to loss and different types of loss? Loss is something that is inevitable. It's an aspect of life and we can't get away from it. And obviously the worst type of loss that we can think of is the death of a loved one. But then apart from that, as you rightfully said, there are different types of loss that we can all experience during the course of our lives. We can lose a job, something that we really loved doing. We can lose a treasured friend. Something that we don't think a lot about in our society is perhaps even the loss of a pet. If you've had a pet in your family for a really long time and you've grown attached to this pet and it suddenly dies or it dies over a period of time because of illness, then this can be a loss to the family. If this was, many people see their pets as a part of their family. So losing loss is something that we all experience. When we think of the different stages of our lives, Tisha, I remember several years ago reading an article, I think it was written by Oprah Winfrey, if I'm not mistaken. And she was talking about, because grief is what we experience as a result of loss. So we lose something or someone, and the experience that we feel afterwards is the grieving process. And she was talking about the fact that when your children leave home and they go away to college, or, they move out on their own, or you've been accustomed to having your children all along. She was talking to a lot of women about what they went through in terms of grieving that process and what it felt like for those women who were accustomed to having their children around all the time and having them in their lives. And, at that time when I read it, it was probably in my 20s or so, I couldn't envisage that was experienced as loss. But I think as I grew older, I began to understand it. So there are different types of loss, that we can all experience. And one of the most critical things that we do need to have with respect to loss is the acknowledgement of our loss by ourselves and obviously by those around us, because that's very important.
It's so important. When you say that, when you include even a pet, it opens your mind to all types of things, because then we talk a lot about people in the diaspora you just had to look at that Chafet line going around the block in Manhattan. But even the loss of familiar surroundings can be something that you have to deal with. So how can couples support each other as they experience different types of loss? Maybe if they have to move to somewhere else, if the children move away, if they lose a pet. All of these are different things, but it all amounts to loss. So how can you support your partner when these types of things are happening?
One of the most critical barriers with respect to loss, Tisha, is not having the understanding that you really wish you would have, not having the support that you wish you would have had. And that can often happen in a relationship, particularly between a man and a woman, because we see life so differently and we experience life so differently. And I'm not saying this to say that men don't grieve or men don't experience loss, because I'm sure they do. Of course they do. They're human beings. We all do. But society often dictates, or we assume that society dictates how we should respond to these things. And very often our society seems to suggest it's okay for a woman to cry. It's okay for a woman to want to have someone to lean on, want to perhaps take some time off from work and process her pain, whatever she's going through. It may be a divorce. It may be a relationship that has broken up after you've been together with someone for many years. You've shared life together. You've shared children together, but suddenly you're not together anymore. And society seems a lot kinder to women when we go through these periods of loss, when we grieve because of the loss that we are experiencing. But sometimes it would seem that people don't expect men to go through the same type of process. We seem to expect men to bounce back a lot quicker. Not that they're not experiencing the loss, but we expect them to man up and to come back to the table, perhaps after a few weeks being sort of renewed and ready to tackle life again. And that's really an unfair assumption. So you can have that disparity between the genders with respect to how we expect them to respond to loss, how we expect them to handle the grieving process. But then you can just have a lack of understanding, period. And a man may think, for example, if his wife lost her job, he might try to encourage, say, okay, get over it, you're going to get a better job, or, it may have been good that you lost that job, or, you don't have to dwell on the sadness. You don't have to dwell on the fact that the pet that we've had for 12 years has died. You can get up and move on and so on. And the person that you expect to support you and to understand what you're going through may not. And that can cause a serious fracture in the relationship, because you're expecting to be supported, you're expecting to be understood, and you're expecting someone to respect your feelings, and they don't. And I'm talking about within the context of a relationship, like a marriage or a long-term relationship, but it can happen even with friends or colleagues who expect you to move on a lot quicker than you're ready to. So I think one of the most critical challenges that we can all experience with respect to loss is not having the support that we expect to have from those around us. And that is why it is so critical that even in relationships that we have these types of difficult conversations, and that we also look after ourselves, Tisha, because that is a very critical aspect of grieving. Being able, we do expect support and we desire support, and we need that human love, we need that human understanding and compassion. It is a part of the human experience that is ultimately valuable, but at the end of the day, we still need to be able to support ourselves.
That's right. No, that's true. No, Dr. Charles, we know that each person's experience with loss is totally unique.
It's different.
Is very different as you move from person to person. But something that comes to mind is, losing a partner who might have had a partner as you know them, the person you married, because of illness, because of, just growing older together. How do you cope with that level of loss? Because some people might call it change, but then this is not the person that you married, that that you carried conversations with, depending on what the illness might be. We're hearing a lot in older couples about dementia and all of these things. So you truly are losing the person that you knew, because now sometimes they don't even know who you are. So how do you deal with that kind of loss as well?
There's no quick answer to that, Tisha, but I think one of the most critical foundational aspects of a relationship that we must take care of, and I speak this all the time, is we need to build significant memories in our relationships. we need to spend time nurturing our relationships. We need to spend time nurturing our friendships. Don't take life for granted. Don't take your partner for granted. Don't take it for granted that life will always be as it is right now. So it is important to savor the moments. Don't take this lightly. Don't see this as something that we're just, making a big deal about. This is very, very important for the future, that you build strong memories, that you have days when you can enjoy each other. Yes, you're going to have the difficult moments, but you really allow your relationship to be all that it can be, so that when those difficult times come, when those challenging moments come, when there is loss, when there is grief, when something critical has changed in your relationship, like you are referencing right now, somebody becomes ill or they're losing themselves with respect to dementia, that there is still something that you can hold on to. There's something that you can remember about the relationship. With respect to marriage, those vows in sickness and in health, sometimes we don't really think too deeply about what we've said all those years ago. But really, when it comes to love, we're expected to remain faithful, to remain committed, even in those challenging circumstances. But obviously, depending on the health of the relationship, people will treat to these things differently. Obviously, if your marriage in its formative years or it's in its developing years has been wrought with a lot of challenges, a lot of bitterness, things that have not been brought to the surface, there's not been forgiveness, and so on, then it becomes very challenging when you are faced with a significant life challenge. It becomes very, very difficult for you to be able to pivot to the type of approaches or the type of attitudes that you're expected to show in those difficult moments. And so that is why it is necessary, when things are going well, or when you're healthy and when you're younger, or even when you're alert in your middle years and so on, that you really spend a lot of time building a strong foundation in your relationship, because you don't know what is going to happen in the future. None of us knows that. And we don't necessarily want to know either, because we don't want to be burdened with being afraid of the future. One of the most challenging things we can all experience is worrying about the future, being anxious about the future that we really don't know. We just have to trust God and leave in His hands. But at the same time, we have to make the most out of our lives, so that when the future, we walk into the future, as we do gradually, it's not a one-off event. Every day, the next day is the future, tomorrow is the future, but that we are well prepared for whatever life may throw our way.
And speaking of whatever life may throw our way, I know there are a lot of people who are grappling and have a very hard time with dealing with the loss of a relationship, for example.
Yes.
So, people who are going through, different things based on your relationship. You might have been in a relationship with someone for a very long time, and it might not be through divorce, but certainly death or what have you, as you mentioned, the children going away or somebody immigrating or something. How do you deal with loss? And of course, each one, like we said, is unique, it's different, but generally, where's a good place to start?
I think a good place to start, Tisha, is in acknowledging how you feel. Don't try to get over how you feel quickly, and don't feel guilt about something that lingers. It may seem like, if you might think, well, this other person that I know, she got over her challenges pretty quickly and moved on with her life. Or you don't think that way. Don't compare yourself with other people. Embrace what you're feeling. I always say, whatever we're going through, we can only get over things when we acknowledge them. So being in denial, it is a part of the grieving process. Sometimes we begin at that point of denial. We can't believe what has happened, and we deny it, and we move on to being very angry, etc., before we come to that place of acceptance. But it's critical that you acknowledge what you're going through, acknowledge your pain. One of the ways that we can do this is by talking to ourselves about it, actually. We don't always have to talk to somebody. It's good to have that support system where we can talk to someone. There's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. It might be something that you want to do through writing, or you may just want to verbalize certain things when you're in space alone. You may want to look in the mirror, look at yourself, and tell yourself how you actually feel. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You're not crazy. Have that conversation with yourself about how you feel, articulate it. Sometimes you may just want to be still and quiet and to think those thoughts. You may not even want to say them, but the point is, even if you're thinking them, you're acknowledging them to yourself. So embrace how you feel, not in the sense that you're embracing it to allow it to define you, but you have to embrace it so that you can move on eventually when you're ready, when you're psychologically ready, when you're emotionally ready to move on. You have to embrace it first, acknowledge how you feel, and within time, there's nothing like time to heal wounds. Within time, you will get to that place where you feel a lot better. But before you get to that stage, you have to allow yourself to go through that process of grieving the loss that you're experiencing, no matter what that loss will be. Because, we define ourselves in the context of our relationships. We define ourselves by our relationships. We define ourselves by the things that we are accustomed to, that we have grown accustomed to. And if you've always been with someone, if you've always been in a marriage, you've always been in a long-term relationship, or even you had that best friend that you mentioned earlier from school days, you've always seen this person as your best friend, as your long-standing friend, as someone you can rely on. But suddenly something happens that changes. We have to be in a space where we can embrace that feeling of loss, acknowledge what we're going through, and don't allow the loss, even though this part may be difficult, do not allow the loss, however, to define our new experience of life. When I say don't allow it to define us, don't see yourself as a victim because of the loss. Don't see yourself as less than because of the loss. Yes, you have lost someone. You have lost a critical part of your life, but you are still a whole person. You are still a whole person with value. You're still a whole person with worth. You still have a lot to contribute to life. And that is the space we want to get to, but it's going to take some time.
Life and relationship coach, Dr. Denise Charles. Thank you as always. Great nuggets to take forward as we look toward our day.
Thank you, Tisha, and you have a great Monday.
Thank you so much. We're going to take another break and come back. Lots for you to think about as we head on into just about 7:30 in Barbados and across the Eastern Caribbean. Morning Barbados. We'll be right back.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, we love to reach out across the diaspora and talk to Barbadians living afar. Let's say a special good morning to Morin Griffith, a Barbadian living in the U.S. Good morning to you, Maureen.
Good morning, Tisha.
Good morning. How do you do?
I'm doing great.
All
Terrific.
right. Now, I've been reading up about you, and it is quite the story. So I don't know, we really have to start at the very beginning. So you went to school, yes, here in Barbados, and you immediately went into the teaching profession. Tell me about that experience.
Yes, my dad made sure that I didn't just hang around. So as soon as I finished school at Lynch's Secondary, he walked with me into the Department of Education, and they assigned me to a school, which was Springer Memorial, Government Hill. And so I started there.
And then you went on to Ellerslie.
And then during the course of the time, I went on also to Ellerslie in Blackrock.
What was your experience like teaching at such a young age and back then? Because I know the teaching profession, many will argue, has changed quite a bit.
Yes, it has. Now, from small, my mother said that I was always going to be a teacher because I used to put my dolls and I would be talking to these dolls and hitting them and explaining things to them. And as I grew up in the church, and also I had opportunity to teach in the church. I was exposed in that way. I was being prepared. God was preparing me, and I didn't know then. But then I used all of those talents. And I remember even I was a long runner, with one of my old cliques, Patsy from the modern high school. So I was involved in instruction and teaching different types of people. So it developed as I grew in age.
Good stuff. And then Maureen, you jumped from the teaching profession and went into nursing, and that came to and that translated then to you immigrating. So talk to me about that move from teaching to nursing and then moving away from Barbados to pursue nursing.
I can tell you that God is alive because he called me from teaching to nursing. And I said, no, God, you got the wrong person. Because I was a very sensitive person. I would come up with wails and whatnot. And if anyone used my towel. And I put God on the test. And during that time, you had to get sponsors. And my best friend, father, put up his home to sponsor me. Because my dad did not approve that I had such talent and I would be going to do nursing. He thought that was a down. And that is how I was able to be sponsored to go to the United Kingdom. And I went there in 1978. So he made the way. God made the way. And every time that I put a challenge to him like Gideon, he showed me he was God and that he was leading me. And that is my life. He has been leading me all the time.
Wow.
And true, this was completely different because, you know, I'm in academics while I'm in Barbados. Now I go to England, a new culture, new people, new faces, new climate. And I have to go into another field, which was biological science. New sayings and things like that. But you know, Tisha, I tell you, this is the beautiful thing about life. If you desire and if you want to, he will help you. God will help you. And so he helped me. Many times I went to the professor and I said, I don't understand. And I mean, even the language of itself, you know, we think that we speak, but when you get there and you hear the language from other people, you have to assimilate that into your brain also. And I would go to the professor and I would say, I really did not understand how you explain and how do you get from point A to point B. And you know what she said? If you want to come, I will give you extra tuition. And believe you me, Tisha, I went and she showed me, not gave me the answer for the question, but she showed me how to. You know, it is okay that you give somebody a fish, but if you teach them how to, then they have that. And so she taught me. The first test that I took, I failed. I was down to the bottom. The next test I took, I was to the top. I was to the top because I was determined that I was going to learn. This was new. and we can't hide away. We can't shift away from new things just because you are not accustomed to it. You know, it is good that we get shake up in life.
And talking about shaking up, you went to England and you studied. You came back to Barbados and you worked in nursing too, but in psychiatric care and in different areas. And then you immigrated to the U.S. to pursue nursing again, and somehow ended up in the army.
Yes. While I was in England, the Lord showed me men with khaki pants and not being exposed. When I went to England was the first time I ever slept away from home. So I really wasn't exposed to a lot of things. So I said, God, are you sending me back to Commermere or Harrison College? Because those were the only places that are large, you know, where I see all of these men. And I'd be reading the Bible and I would always break out this thing to the melting pot. And I kept saying, why am I getting this melting pot thing? So, didn't know that the melting pot was talking about America. So, you know, there's a lot of things we don't understand. But if we are obedient and do what he says, step by step, he walked me through. I have some spiritual parents. They're gone now, but they were living in Philadelphia. And meanwhile, you know, with education, I like I said, I went to England and I became a registered nurse, a certified midwife, and I was also a mental health nurse. So I had all the academia behind me. And so while I was waiting for the paperwork to come to America, which my sister said, please come here, please come here. So while I was doing the paperwork, I came back to Barbados and I worked at the St. Michael Infirmary for 1 year, and that was waiting for my paperwork. And then after my paperwork was finalized, I went back to America. Now, when you are in America and you have a British education, you have to go under their system. You see, so you know, if somebody comes from India now, they can't come straight and practice in Barbados. They have to go through the Barbadian way. And so because I had a British education, and even though it was good, I still had to go under the United States type of education.
All right,
so I did that.
So a lot of that happened. Okay, tell me.
And I met a professor there who said, you'll be good in the military. I said, you kidding me? It was a professor at college who said, you'll be good for the military. I said, oh no, I couldn't. I was too old. Providentially, during that time, the government changed the admitting age. And so I was allowed to go into the military. I went into the military as an officer for 22 years. I'm a retired officer from the United States military. After doing that, I even worked 10 years with the veterans as a transfer coordinator.
Wow.
So
I mean, you've been able to do so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but let's talk about our connection now. Let's talk about our connection, because you usually come and visit Black Rock Church of the Nazarene, and you know that's my church. I have to say a special good morning to Pastor Bino.
Okay.
Yeah. So talk to me about that connection, the home connection.
I have been coming here 13 years annually. That is before the pandemic. The pandemic stopped me for 3 years. But every year I would come, and I endeavored to return my gifts, my talents, and to encourage the young people that they can do it too. They can proceed. They can go to the uttermost parts of the earth. You know, being in the military too, I traveled. And everywhere I go, I can see someone looking like me, which means that if you have it, you can God can use you anywhere. So for 13 years, I've been coming and speaking. Pastor Biner has been such a humble man to allow me to speak. And while I was there, like I said, I was being exposed as a Sunday school teacher, all these gifts. You know, sometimes you do things and you don't know that God is preparing you. So when you're doing things, you mustn't do them sloppy. You must do them to the best of your ability. Because he said, if you're faithful in little things, he'll put you in bigger things. That's how this all started. 13 years. And my parents used to go also to this Black Rock Nazarene, and I was a member there also. And still, I look at Pastor Bino as my pastor, even though I'm overseas. I have that connection.
You're going to be here. You're going to be here and at the church, and you know, speaking and sharing all of who you are. Since then, you've also pursued a master's degree in counseling. I mean, you have done so much.
Hey, listen, counseling, I mean, I have a master's degree in counseling, and I do use it for everyday life. I use it to help people of God. I'm not only just a talker, but my experience, as the doctor who was before me, everything she was saying, I understood. And you know, the people of God need that. You know, some of us get things and we think it belongs to us, but I share. You know, when I'm speaking the word of God, I use that experience to talk to the people in a way, in a level. I break it down so they can understand. You know, academia hasn't gone to my head. You know, I work and I talk from my heart, you know, and my heart is to return what this beautiful island of Barbados has given to me. And when the grave, I want to be empty. I want to be all poured out. You know, I don't want to go with everything that was given to me. And yes, I use all my degree, and I don't really talk about it. You know,
Miss Griffith, this is your true calling, though. So I mean, you've been in teaching, you've been in nursing, you've been in the army. You know, you have a master's degree in counseling, but this is your calling. Your calling is,
I also have a master's degree. I also have a master's degree in health administration. So I have 2 master's degrees. Yes.
Wow.
There are a lot
I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to seeing you. When are you going to be at the Black Rock Church of the Nazarene?
Oh, I will be there all week up to Thursday. I'll be speaking until Thursday. I spoke last night and I spoke last Sunday also. So I'll be there. Anyone wants to come and hear, or on YouTube, Black Rock Nazarene. From 6:30 p.m. The services will start at 6:30.
Well, thank you so much. It's been wonderful catching up with you. And I know we talk about, for sure, and I know we talk about, you know, new generations. But listen, you've had so many professions all wrapped up in one, and they've all kind of tied one into the other. It gives us real hope. It gives us hope for what we can do. So thank you, Ms. Griffith. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you so much, Tisha, for having me. God bless you.
All right. God bless you too. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, what inspiration, huh? Great inspiration for the start of a new month, for the start of a new week. Just when you thought, hey, I'm through with this profession, or I want to do something new. Did you hear her say that that someone told her about going into the army, and she was past the age, and then all of a sudden the administration changed and she had the opportunity to go in? Yes, like I was telling young Joshua a little bit earlier, sometimes you just have to believe that things will happen and things will line up in the universe. Hey, we're going to take a break and come on back on Morning Barbados. A little bit of inspiration for you if you have a chance. Pass through Black Rock Nazarene 6:30 all this week, 6:30 in the evening, to see Miss Griffith. I'm sure lots of you will want to go and see what she has to say. We're going to take a break and come on back. So do stay with us. So much more is to come. Plus, the eyes have it. If you think you know those eyes that we've been sharing with you all morning, get close to the phone line because we have another clue coming up. The eyes have it. All right, so here are the eyes. You get another peek of the eyes. And the clue is he wants you to focus on you. All right? He wants you to focus on you. Do you know who these eyes belong to? Look deep into those eyes and call me and tell me whose eyes they are. The eyes have it. So we went through quite a few of the clues for you. Initially, I said it's all about the face for him. It's all about the face. Yes, that was one of the clues. The next clue was he was a finalist in the 2019 MQI 98.1 Soca Monarch competition. And now he wants you to focus on you. Hello, you must know. You must know by now. All right? So the eyes have it. Let's see if you can figure that out. 228-5562, 228-5563. All right, so we are reaching out to another Bajan afar who is near this time around. All the Bajans seem to be home, but we're loving it. So let's go right ahead and say good morning and welcome to Tina Rain, who is a YouTuber and who's here with us this morning. Good morning to you, Tina.
Good morning.
Hey, so wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you.
Tell me about your journey from Barbados to the U.S., the story of your immigration. How did that one work out?
Well, I left Barbados in 1980, which is a very long time ago. And I was looking for new opportunities. So that's why I left Barbados and went to live in New York with my aunt. And from there, I tried different things in New York. Now I'm a school teacher. But I had experience with different things, you know, leaving this country.
And you also have, you know, a big presence on YouTube.
Yes.
So you have a YouTube page. You are a content creator. And you have a page that's called Tina Rain's Journeys.
Yes.
Yeah, Tina Rain's Journey.
Well, there's two of them.
Tina Rain.
Tina Rain and Tina Rain's Journey.
All right. So tell me about these two pages and how they came to be.
Yes. Well, I started Tina Rain, and I wanted to be a YouTuber for a long time, but I wasn't sure in which direction I wanted to go. So then in 2020, I started looking, I went to look at a cooking video, and I realized that I saw a lot of Jamaicans and Trinidadians and Guyanese, but nothing Barbados. And I know Barbadians, we have good cooks here. So what I decided to do is I decided to make a video. I made bakes on video, and to my surprise, a lot of people commented and wrote me and told me they tried the bakes and they like it and so on. So I started putting more videos up, and that's how Tina Rain started. And while I'm cooking, I always talk a little bit about growing up here in the islands with my grandmother. I was raised by my grandmother, and things that she did and how she prepared certain things. And I found that, you know, we have Barbadians now throughout the world, and a lot of people like that and they write to me about that. So that encouraged me and made me feel good about what I'm doing.
All right, what are some of the other dishes that you've made? Because through these pages, you continue to share about Barbados, about our culinary delights.
Yes.
But also about Barbados generally, and encourage Barbados to kind of delve into who we are, our culture, food, places.
Yes.
So generally encourage people to come here. So talk about some of these other dishes that you've made. You started with bakes, that's a good start.
But listen, I've made everything that there is to make from Barbados. Black pudding and sauce, cuckoo, salmon, gravy, red herring, conkeys. And people usually write me and would give me their opinion. Maybe my grandma didn't put this, or, you know, people have their own opinion about certain things, but they're, as I said, Barbadians throughout the world. So a lot of people may have lost their loved ones, their grandparents, or their mother, their aunt, whoever it may be. So they'll say to me, you know what, thank you so much, because my grandmother made it. She's now gone and I haven't had it in years. And by following your recipes, now I can make it. Because we know the older people, they didn't measure stuff. They just put a little pinch of this, my grandmother, a little pinch of that. So a lot of people don't know or didn't know how to make those recipes. So I made sure I created all those recipes, and there's all directions of exactly the measurements of exactly what to put. And people love it.
So author must be next then, because if you have all the Bajan recipes, it's only fair to Bajans near and far that you come with a cookbook next.
My daughter keeps saying, Mommy, you have to write a cookbook. And my daughter just got her master's in creative writing. I'm like, why don't you write it for me? But I would love to write a cookbook. I would love. Maybe one day in the future that'll happen.
What dish? Is there any one dish that created so much of a stir, no pun intended, so much interest on YouTube that you said, oh my goodness, I can't believe there will be so much interest in this one dish?
The cuckoo and salmon, and I made a mistake and I said it's a national dish. I know cuckoo and flying fish is a national dish, but I said that because I said to them,
fish.
Well, I know that is a national dish, but I'm saying to people, like, every Saturday people here eat black pudding sauce, so they should make that too a national dish and make both of them a national dish. So people, it was kind of, people read me, people very Barbadians, very, I'm telling you, don't mess up there, they'll write you about it, but they wrote me and tell me, no, cuckoo and fried fish is a national dish, not black pudding and sauce. I'm like, but it's right up there. No. So I had to kind of rewrite that a little bit. Yeah.
That's understood. And then you are making the cuckoo a little different. So I know people talk to you about that. You stir your cuckoo in a bowl.
I did. Oh, that one I made cuckoo in the microwave.
Okay.
So the first cuckoo I did on the stove, but that one I made in the microwave because I'm telling people there's another way to do it. You know, I know the way my grandmother did it, but they went the long way. Let's try a little easier.
That has the love in it, girl.
Yes.
That has the love in it.
Yes. So I made it.
One is all right, but you know, when you stir the cuckoo, you stand over there.
And then you're sweating and all that stuff. So I'm trying to get the sweat away. I'm trying to tell you, you come home from work and you're tired, just mix it up and
sweat
put it.
Is what makes the cuckoo tastes good. Makes it mellow. I'm kidding, guys. Yeah, but I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So talk to me about where you're going with this. You're a teacher by profession, and you're here at home. I hope you get a chance to take in some of the festivities. I don't know what
I was there,
yes,
on Saturday.
Okay.
Yes, the crop over. I was there on Saturday. I had so much fun. I videotaped everything. But with my Tina Rain's journey, what I've been doing is going around Barbados and just recording things in Barbados because I like to travel. And then I put my travels up so that if people want to take a trip, they'll have an idea of where they can go or where they can eat. So I've been going around Barbados, and people have been writing me and telling me they're seeing Barbados through my eyes. Some people say it's on their bucket list to come here. They're so excited. So it's really been great.
All right. Tina Rain, I want to thank you for coming in and sharing with us. I definitely will be on that page, and I trust that people, Bajans, will keep you in check about it. So thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful time. We most certainly will check in on your page as well.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Don't forget, guys, to share, like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I love to read your comments.
All right, so that's enough for Tina Rain. Hey, final break for the day. We're going to come back and wrap it up. We'll let you know if you have the right eyes. That's next. Stay with us. So the ayes have it. We're breaking all the rules. 228-5562, 228-5563. Call me quickly. Whose eyes are these? Whose eyes are these? Do you know? Can you tell me whose eyes these are? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Let's take a call quickly. Do the ayes have it for you? Who is this? Good morning. Welcome.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Whose eyes are these? Come on, what's his name? What's his name?
I can't remember.
All right, let's move on. If you don't know his name and you know the face, that's not good enough. So next caller, let's go. We're out of time. One more call. Good morning, 228-5562, 228-5563. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, it's Marvy.
It is Marvy. Yay! Congratulations. I was giving all the right clues, right? All right, where are you calling me from?
St. Philip.
St. Philip, and the name is?
Alicia.
Okay, good stuff, Alicia. And did you know it was Marvy from the very first time we put the eyes up?
Yes, please. Always on TV.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, Alicia. And it's that simple. The eyes have it. Ding. Damien Marvey. You have to put it back so people can say, oh yes, that is Damien Marvey. It is Marvey, so congratulations. Coming up tomorrow on Mornin Barbados, conversations on CARICOM with Ambassador Comishong. Also, the Barbados Trust Fund will be in. And we're also going to be telling you tomorrow about what's happening across the region. Of course, we're celebrating CARICOM, the Big 50. So lots is happening, especially in Trinidad and Tobago. That's it from us for today. As you go through your day, remember to wear your smiles and do come on back tomorrow. On behalf of the entire crew, have a great day today, and we're looking forward to a good week. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning,